This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Plenty of footy over the weekend. We're endeavouring to catch up with the big Pav, Matthew Pavlich.
My dad was there. That's a big word, Shaun. Go to university. He didn't.
Sometimes I can say words, which is very rarely still, but I can't spell them. So
Oh, no. You don't need to. You just have to say them.
Okay, so let's talk about our WA
Pav,
teams.
answer your phone.
Pav.
Yeah, Pav, answer your phone. Pav was calling the game between Melbourne and the West Coast Eagles on Saturday night, and there's a lot of people who in the West Coast Eagles supporters thought that they were a glimmer of hope, Natalie.
Well, they were up at half time, so that would count as a glimmer of hope, I would think.
Yeah, mate,
But then
that was a mere miracle because Melbourne absolutely smoked them, and then they kicked 2 late goals in that quarter to be in front.
But still, you know.
No, I do think a win. Look, they're going to win a game this year.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know when.
And that's all they can ask for, really. That's what they say at the start of the year. Guys, if we just win one, everyone's going to lay off.
I think they won like 7 games out of 63.
Yeah, but it wasn't only 6.
Yeah, that's right. You got to focus on the
It's
positives.
pretty terrible. What I wanted to bring up, though, because I saw Andrew McWalter being interviewed after the game, and he was talking about the influence of Melbourne's Max Gawn on the game.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic, but he's not coming up against the Rolls-Royce of Ruckman.
But
and he's
did
been
say-
in great form for the last few weeks.
What did he say about him? He said the greatest ruckman of all time.
I take offence to that.
You weren't a ruckman?
You went a ruckman.
Oh. I take offence to that.
I even know
On
that.
whose behalf?
On Aaron's? On Aaron's behalf?
Aaron Sandilands
Yes.
was a really good ruckman.
Polly Farmer.
Would Max Gawn beat Aaron Sandilands in the ruck? I don't think he would have. But number one,
Caitlin
to
Bassett?
me, in the modern footy, I'm not dissing Polly Farmer. I'm just saying in the more modern game. Dean Cox would have run rings around him, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Dean Cox was getting 30 possessions a game.
Yeah.
Dean Cox could pick up the ball off the
Yes,
ground and
he
kick left
played like
foot
a
and
midfielder,
lace it
didn't
out
he?
40 metres down the track.
What's his name again?
Coxie.
Coxie or Big Cox.
Cox.
So you
if I was a
disagree
West
with
Coast
Minnie on
supporter-
that, yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't agree with Minnie on that. And by the way, Minnie, when you take over a team like that and you've got a Hall of Famer sitting in your thing, you go, he's a very good player, but Dean Cox, he's a club champion.
Yeah, remember
How
that.
about Big Cox?
But also,
Big Cox.
he's an opposition coach who knocked the job back.
I know.
Knocked the job back.
Is that
and you,
true?
do you
Isn't
know
that
why everyone
sad?
knocked the job back?
That's
he
sad,
wasn't the
isn't
Lone
it?
Ranger.
Yeah,
But think about that, right? So they're obviously
No,
going,
we
oh my
know
God,
why.
it might be Coxie. And then he goes, no thanks. And they go, oh. The whole team just sitting there waiting at the pound, putting their prettiest eyes on.
That's right.
No, they're waiting. If Minnie can get through this rebuild section, and it's very difficult too, because a lot of times you're just losing and then you get the arse right, and then someone comes in when the team starts to develop. They're the coaches who are sitting out at the moment. So they're the ones sitting
They
out
need to be
going,
Ted
okay,
Lasso,
if this doesn't
Shaun.
go too well, sooner or later, in a couple of years' time, I come in and the hard yards is done and away we go.
It's the Ted Lassoing. They need a coach. They really do need a coach to bring them together.
Now, Shaun, do you want to talk about Friday night?
Not really, but I'm going to talk to
We've
Matthew
got Pav.
Pavlich. Hey, Pav, how are you?
Fine. Hey, Pav.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm not sure what was going on. I wanted to speak. Actually, maybe it was just the world saying, "Hey, let's not talk about the weekend."
Hi, Pav.
And let's move on to next week because that was atrocious from our team, Shawnee. But
Hard to
also
watch.
West Coast. I heard you just talking down there. Obviously, in the worst position they've been in their history, and it's going to be a long road ahead. But they were competitive for probably a quarter in that second term. But Melbourne, if they could actually function as a forward line, would have kicked probably another 10 or 20 goals. But it was a bad weekend for our WA team.
Hey, mentally, at a club like that, when they're in a situation that they are in, and it doesn't look like there's many runs in the future, does the club do a mandate sort of thing of, hey, guys, don't read the press, all this sort of stuff, because everything is negative about your club, and it would be very hard not to absorb some of this. What's the deal?
I think most clubs these days would have. There's no hard and fast policy. Like if you want to read press, you want to read stuff that people write well about you, go ahead. If you want to read stuff that people write negatively about you, go ahead as well. But I think most players these days don't get caught up in that because it can be such a distraction. I remember early in my career, absolutely getting caught up in reading about how good I was or how bad I was. And, ultimately it's never that bad or never that good. It's somewhere in between. And the people that really count are the ones that are coaching you and the people, within the four walls. But that's the bit that I find, I'm sure we'll turn our attention to Freo at some point, but that leadership group, and then the next layer, the emerging leaders and or the backbone of that group. I mean, Alex Pearce is the only one on the weekend that could say that he actually stood up and played, a trademark performance. He can tick his game off. The rest of them, Andy Brayshaw, Caleb Sarong, Sam Sukowski, Josh Tracy, And then sort of that second layer of emerging group, it was pathetic. It was really substandard. It just wasn't at the level. And, they knew what was coming. Ross Lyon, in terms of how they structured the game, half forwards up around the ball, created really hard for Freo's stoppage game to get going. Pressure, and they just got absolutely smashed. And it's embarrassing for that group because they've been together for a while now and they've talked publicly, Shawnee, how, they're about to challenge. Well, the fact is they're 4-4. And they've played one final series in 10 years, so they're a long way short of where they need to be.
Wow. There's no question about that.
And
I agree. I would have framed it, in hindsight, and I was thinking about this leading into the game, I would frame it differently because one of the questions you go, what's coming. We know what was coming with Ross, but I would frame it completely different. It's not we know what's coming. They need to, St Kilda need to know what's coming back at them.
Yes.
Because we're a team that needs to forge our own identity at this point in time. We're not in a position to say, hey, a team's coming after us. No, we're coming after every team.
Shaun, are they using the same playbook as when Ross was still there? Because if they are, then Ross knows that one. So you've got to get rid of that one and then play one that Ross doesn't know.
Not necessarily that part, but Pav will agree, Nate, leading into this game, and when we were talking about it last week with Nat, you knew Ross's playbook.
Yes.
And he was in the media all the time, and he was having a go at everything.
Yeah.
And when he's
on
like
the front foot,
he walks around that football club, Pav, doesn't he? And everyone are on their toes because they know he could kill you.
You knew what was coming after the Riley Garcia stuff at half-time, the bake in the media after the game. Like, it was just going to be a hard, intense, clinical week, which, for those players that have played under Ross or have worked with Ross know that means that they may not win, but they're going to give every bit of effort and every inch of themselves to that game on the weekend. So what Freo had to do was absorb the game early, as your point, and then go, okay, well, we've absorbed, let's double down and give them some back. So they just didn't do that. They handled it completely wrong. And, Justin, post-game, said he included himself in that in terms of the preparation and getting the guys right. But in the end, there's only so much a coach can do and prepare them. It's to your point, Shawnee, the players have to steel themselves, particularly that leadership group, and it starts, straight away on the Monday morning in the review, how they prepare for the game, keeping everyone sharp and in focus. If they don't do that from a mentally, perspective, from a mentally hard edge perspective, in this game, it's sort of on the weekend. There's upsets that happen all the time. There's form. If you're off by a little bit, you're going to get absolutely smacked in the face. That's exactly what happens.
It's so funny, Pav, but one of my favourite memories, and for Natalie and I both, is Ross Lyon coming on our show for the first time. We've been trying to get him for ages, right? And we couldn't. We're going, why not? He's a docker. Shaun's here. He finally comes on, and we use that leverage to get him on. And then Shaun does his intro, and hey, Ross Lyon, rah, and he goes, oh, hey, Shaun. And then we go, hi, Ross. And then he goes, Nathan and Nat, is it? Nathan and Nat is the best
sledge
welcome I've ever had.
You go, Pat.
That's the thing. He's so dry and sarcastic.
Yes, so funny.
It actually cuts. It's a bit like, he's not angry, he's disappointed.
No.
So I think it's the same thing, the sarcasm and
but sometimes he is angry.
You know what it is? For me, Ross, this is Ross's default. I can't be bothered with your nonsense.
Yeah. And that's 100%. And he does that all the time, Nate. One of the things that really got me on Friday night, Pav, was watching the football, and it's the aftermath, Nate. They're breaking everything down. And this is Jason Dunstall. He said his fear with Fremantle is they're always capable of a game like that. And that's why they continue to be a battle to be the team that they should be. There's a real fragility there.
Yes, it's the flaky Fremantle tag, isn't it?
Yeah. And Jonathan Brown said every time I go and watch them, it's not worthy of taking up my time.
The driving there and the coming home.
Yeah. Well, I felt that was a real. I would play that to the player group because that really shows.
How do they then back up on Thursday night against the Pies? How do they do that?
Well, again,
but this is the thing, and I think Justin spoke about it. Not only did Jason and Brownie talk about it, but Justin spoke about it in his press conference. Saying that. At the moment, we don't know what we're going to get. But they'll probably get a response this week because they played so poorly. And that is an indictment on the playing group. That is just it's not an indictment necessarily on Justin. It's the playing group that go, we have a standard that we have set ourselves. We've got some behaviours we hold ourselves accountable to. How do we know each week unless we're actually just hitting those? And that's from an effort and a desire and a want perspective. It's got nothing to do with statistics or clearances or inside 50s or contested possessions. It's just desire and will And at the moment, they don't have either of that.
Well, you have a desire and will.
Consistently enough.
Don't you, Shaun? You've got it in buckets.
Yeah, Sean's written a will.
And Nathan's got the desire that I'm looking for, so it all
How much am I
works.
getting, Shawnee?
Sorry, Pav?
How much am I getting of
You're
that?
getting-
will?
No, you'll get enough,
You're
mate.
getting
Can I have
my
something?
hero.
Pav,
All
can I have
his old
something of
merch.
yours? I know you've got children, but can I just have something? Like, can you give me something like name a TV or something? Can I have one thing? I'll give you something of mine. Pav?
He's gone.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you.
He wants something. He wants.
No, I don't want Sean's
Oh, yeah,
crap.
no, I'll give you...
What? Something
I'll
good.
give you...
Something
I've got
good.
plenty of wine. Would you like wine?
I'll have the one that's profitable, but I just want
No,
bottles
he
of
won't
wine.
get the stuff that's turned to vinegar because he won't know the difference.
No, I want
Well,
if it's
yeah.
wine. Yeah, what?
You know what? We had, amongst our weekend of sport yesterday, we also had this Verge pickup at our,
Yes.
we dump all year. So
Yeah.
I said to Lauren,
In Swanee.
we got so much crap down in South. So you can have something on this.
Can I be
on
the
our
first to
Verge
go
at the
through
moment
it?
if
Can
you
I be
like.
the first to go through the Verge collection?
Absolutely.
Oh,
There's
my
a couple
God,
of
Shaun.
Verge,
All right.
There's a couple of old floaties. There's a...
Nathan's in the car. He's on his way.
You've never seen a human more excited in their life,
Yeah,
Pav.
I know.
Sure,
Look
it's
at him.
Matthew Pavlich, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Brian. Okay, Brian.
Good on you,
Thanks,
Pav. I'll
Pav.
speak to you soon.
There, dudes. Good luck with the Verge pickup, mate.
Cheers.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Massive crowd on Saturday night. Natalie,
Who
you
are
were
you giving
there.
it to?
Call number 6.
Okay.
13 24
Wow,
10.
fantastic. Thank you,
Yes,
Peppers.
Fantastic.
I was there on Saturday night to see them get up over the Sunshine Coast Lightning, which is a ripping match, like even, very, very even until the Lightning got away a little bit. And
They
then,
did.
And then the Fever reeled them back in. There were a couple of big things that happened in that last quarter. One was the Lightning goal shooter was penalised because the umpire told her she'd gotten a free throw,
Yep.
and the umpire told her to move back next to Sunday Ariang, who we didn't think was going to play, and she did.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah,
she
she's
was
been
so
cagey. She's been cagey. And the umpire told her twice she didn't do it. She didn't take this one step, and so she turned it over, which you don't see that happen very often at all. And then Katie and Dehaney, who is the goalkeeper for the Fever, she took an amazing intercept from a baseline throw-in from the Lightning that turned the game. So, and they got up by 2, which
Natalie.
right at the death it was, and the place went
Well done to the Fever.
We're part of the Green Army, and we had to
Yes.
go and do a media day there, and we filmed a lot of stuff with the Green Army. Have you seen that stuff in fruition?
No.
On the screen.
So
I'm terrified of it.
The bit that
So
we
are they,
did.
so they're not playing it.
The bit that we sponsor is the dad dancing,
Yes,
and
I
when
know.
that came up, I'm
I
like,
cannot,
oh no, I'm a
I
bit
cannot.
scared about this. But they didn't show us on the screen.
Because that day, if you see it down there, I was so hot.
Oh, yeah.
I was sweating so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
It was like it was a tsunami. Like Shaun jumped onto a wardrobe with his family. And
I was
for life.
surfing those waves in. Oscar Piastri this morning won the Miami Grand Prix. He's
Amazing.
flying, and he looks like he's going to win the World Championship. Just a couple more, because you know that then McLaren will throw all their resources
That's
behind
right.
him. Although Lando Norris finished second, so the Orange Tsunami are doing particularly well.
Orange
and
Tsunami.
it's great for Australian motorsport. It's
It is
huge.
so good.
I don't think you can call something. You can't go with a tsunami.
Why not?
So many people were.
Well, that's what they call the GWS Giants when
Yeah.
they're rolling. Tsunami.
Do they
Orange
really?
Tsunami.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Okay, taking the bird back, I suppose.
Okay, moving on to the... I'm bypassing the footy until Pav comes in later on, because both our teams lost.
So yeah, have
and I
to
don't
have
like
some
to talk
group
about it too
therapy.
often. Yes. So the Gold Coast Pro's on at the moment up at Burleigh Head, so
Yes.
the world's best surfers, and this is the best part. So yesterday when I was watching, Jack Robinson got
Your
knocked
boyfriend?
out.
Yeah,
He won
Your
the week.
boyfriend?
Oh.
Yeah. He won the week before.
So
no,
you were
but he
sitting
got
on the
knocked
beach holding
out.
his keys and his towel. What did he say when he came in?
obviously.
He went and
I
got him a
just
Chico
consoled him.
roll, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, come here, mate. I love you.
He
Straight to the back of the panel van.
so he was in a group with another young Aussie, Morgan Siblick, and
Yes.
Julian Wilson. Now, let me tell you about
yes.
Julian Wilson.
I
who's
remember
been
Julian
retired.
Wilson.
Yep. Why do you know him from?
Because
Nat?
he was the surfer that went out to save Mick Fanning when he punched the shark.
That's exactly
Okay,
right.
so Mick Fanning punched the shark.
right.
What did
That's
he
all
do?
I know him for.
Julian and Mick were in the
Yep, I know, I
battle
remember that.
together.
Yep.
And
He swam over
he
to him.
swam over there, and he was really emotional afterwards because
Yes.
he thought Mick was going to be killed,
gone,
and he
yep.
swam over there to help him out and all that. And then he retired. He was world number 2. He retired and got off the surf scene. He's been off I would say for about 3 to 4 years at least. And he was back in. He was granted a wild card, which means you've got to win a junior competition, so to speak, and then you get a chance to go against the big dogs. Yep. He's now through to the next round, which is around 32.
Do you think that he went back to win over there to help, or do you think he was like, oh my God, there's a shark in the water and that guy punches them, I'll go over near him?
Well, we didn't know he punched them because that was the first time.
He didn't.
He didn't.
No, he definitely went over there to help. It was a real emotional time.
It was
really great
because I was in the ocean, someone's punching sharks. I'd go, okay, I'll go over there.
Oh, lay slippery.
I'll go near the guy that's punching sharks. I'm not going to be able to do anything. So,
the other one is Steph Gilmore got the opportunity to surf as a wild card, and she's got through. So she's taking on a girl called Caitlin Simmers, which is the number 1 in the world. Caitlin is, and Caitlin's like 18 years of age. Yeah. I'm not sure how old Steph is, but she's the 8-time.
That's the thing about these sports, surfbording, skateboarding and stuff like that.
They're so young.
They're so young and they can kick your ass.
They can. They really can. And it's going to be amazing.
Also, you can do it when you're 50.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Caitlin, Steph Gilmore's Caitlin's hero of all time. So they're competing. And it's off today, but it'll be back on tomorrow. So that's going to be really interesting to see the way
Steph Gilmore is 37. So not that old. She's not that old.
And her day consists of like waking up and getting the towel.
Yeah,
down the beach.
it's amazing.
That's her day. You come here.
She's getting paid to fly to various islands around the world.
And also, of course, she's got all the melanin that I didn't get.
All the melanin.
She's attractive. Her friends are everyone's just chill.
Do you reckon at any stage she's been stressed?
No.
I've told you, shell necklace people. Necklace people, they've got no cares.
And finally, Katie Ledecky broke the 800-metre freestyle world record, and Katie is an amazing. She's only 28, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
She was a hell of a lot older.
That's right, because she's been around.
The world record since 15.
That's right. She is the GOAT. Like, you throw that term around a lot these days, but she legit is. Yeah. She's an extraordinary talent.
Yeah. It's interesting to see now in sports, and this goes across the realm of all sports at the moment, the longevity starting to play its part, because swimmers were normally done at 24.
But that wasn't because of performance. That was just because they kind of aged out of it. Do you know what I mean?
And you're wondering, there was a while there you were wondering who's the next big stars after Thorpe and all that stuff. So you're going, where are they? And they were here.
They're constantly coming through, but they're also hanging around a lot because they can look after their bodies better.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a good thing.
That's right. And they've discovered that maybe it is fun to look at a black line on the bottom of a pool for lap after lap after lap. That's the tough bit, isn't it?
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.